We're all chasing success, right? But in a world that usually defines it by how much money you have or how famous you are, what if there's a totally different way to look at it, a deeper definition? Well, today we're diving into the Quran's perspective on what it really means to win, to achieve a success that lasts forever.
So, think about it for a second. If I asked you that question, what would you say? Probably something about a great career, a nice house, maybe a happy family. And those are all great things, don't get me wrong. But what if that entire idea of success is built on something temporary?
And this is where the Quran comes in with a pretty radical idea. It says that the stuff we spend so much time and energy chasing in this life, in the grand scheme of things, it's an illusion, a temporary comfort that can actually distract us from what's really important.
Okay, so what does this worldly illusion really mean? Let's unpack that. The Quran doesn't just see success as a single finish line. It sees it as a journey that goes way beyond our time here on Earth. It draws this really clear line between what's temporary and what's eternal.
Think about it like this. The success we know in this world, it has an expiration date. It ends when we do. But eternal success, what the Quran calls the supreme triumph, that's permanent. It completely reframes our life on Earth as just one chapter, maybe even just the first page, of a much, much bigger story.
And this timeline here, it really puts that journey into perspective. Islamic theology lays out these 4 distinct stages for the soul. It starts in a spiritual realm, even before we're born. Then comes our life here on Earth, which is framed as a test. After that, there's an intermediate state called barzakh, kind of a waiting room between death and resurrection. And finally, you have the hereafter, which is forever. This whole framework means everything we do right now matters. Our actions in this short life have consequences that last in eternity.
So if life is this massive, critical test, how are you supposed to navigate it? I mean, are we just left to figure it all out on our own? Well, no. The Quran says we've been given 2 essential tools to guide us.
And these 2 guides, one is external and one is internal, are meant to work together to point us toward that true, lasting success.
The first guide is the Quran itself, which is described as a divine map. Think of it like the ultimate GPS for life. It's a set of instructions, a clear roadmap that lays out the principles for passing life's test.
And the second tool? It's something we're all born with. It's our conscience. It's described as an inner compass, this God-given sense of right and wrong that helps steer our choices.
This verse right here is so powerful because it puts the ball squarely in our court. Our success or failure is directly tied to whether we listen to that inner compass and nurture our soul, or if we ignore it and let it fade. The goal isn't perfection, but that constant effort to listen and to grow.
So this isn't just a switch you flip. It's a process, a kind of spiritual evolution, broken down into these 3 stages. We start with the commanding self, which is basically driven by our raw impulses. Then, hopefully, we evolve to the reproaching self, where our conscience kicks in, we feel guilt for our mistakes, and we try to do better. The ultimate goal is to reach the tranquil self, a state where you're just at peace, in sync with the divine.
Okay, so we've got our map and our compass, but what does the actual path look like? What are the practical, day-to-day steps you're supposed to take to actually get to this eternal success?
Believe it or not, the answer is packed into one of the shortest chapters in the entire Quran, called Surah Al-Asr. Many scholars say it's basically a summary of the whole Quranic message. And it starts with this huge claim that every single human being is in a state of loss, except for 4 types of people. And here they are, the 4 conditions to escape that loss. First, you have to believe in God. Second, you have to turn that belief into good actions. But it doesn't stop there, and this is key. The 3rd and 4th conditions make it a team sport. You have to encourage others to stick to the truth, and you have to encourage each other to be patient and persevere through challenges. It's not a solo journey.
And this chart here really breaks it down into a clear what to do versus what to avoid. On the success side, you've got the essentials: belief, prayer, charity, and just remembering God. On the other side, you've got the things that destroy success: disbelief, being a hypocrite, denying the message, and getting involved in deception or trickery. This brings us to a really crucial point. Faith isn't just something you feel, it's something you do. It's not passive. The Quran says over and over again that belief has to be paired with good deeds, and the 2 big ones that come up constantly are regular prayer and giving to charity. They're like the proof of your faith.
All right, we've talked about the journey, the tools, and the path. But what's at the finish line?
What's the reward for pursuing this kind of success?
Well, the Quran talks about a reward that's twofold. There are benefits and successes you can see in this life for sure, but those are kind of like the appetizer. They're considered secondary to the main course, the ultimate, much bigger rewards you get in the hereafter.
And when we talk about worldly success here, we're not talking about fancy cars or mansions. It's about legacy and positive impact. For Prophet Noah, it was an enduring fame that lasted through generations. For Abraham, an honorable family line. For Yusuf, it was having fair and just authority. And for Muhammad, a reverence that has spread across the globe for centuries.
But as incredible as all that is, the Quran keeps pointing us higher. This quote is like a signal, shifting our focus away from the temporary world and toward the eternal, to what it calls the supreme triumph.
So what is the supreme triumph? Well, it's the ultimate prize. It's having your sins forgiven. It's getting into paradise. It's living forever without any sickness or death, reunited with the people you love. But the absolute peak, the greatest pleasure of all, is earning God's acceptance and having the honor of actually being in His presence.
So we've explored this whole other definition of success, one that's anchored in eternity, guided by a divine map on the outside and an inner compass on the inside. It's a view that turns our short time here into a test with truly permanent stakes. So as we wrap up, I'll just leave you with this question to think about. After hearing all this, how has your own definition of success changed?